Hey everybody, welcome back to the Slimefun Tutorial Series here on my channel. This is Boomer, and today we are here with the next add-on that we're going to feature. Luckily, we're going to get this all in one episode. This is Extra Tools. For those of you who have not played with it, this is a very convenient set of tools in any game mode. No matter what you're playing, you can get a fair amount of resources for a fair amount of crafting. Let's dive right in. First, we're going to start with a hammer. I didn't even realize the full capability of this hammer until I started putting this together and started testing stuff. You're going to be amazed at just how much the hammer can do. Now, before we dive into what it can do, let's actually look at the recipe. Simple, 5 iron ingots, 2 sticks, and a magical workbench. So this is a day one crafting item that you can use to farm some different resources that you may or may not have thought of out of the gate, especially when you're getting Slimefun started. This can be a great resource to begin with. So we've got a whole bunch of blocks we're going to test here and to see what will it yield if we hit it. So let's start with copper ore. Copper ore will actually yield Slimefun copper dust. Very nice and convenient. Same thing with iron ore and gold ore. And hopefully my texture pack is on, and it is. So we've got copper, gold, and iron coming from those ores. Now, if you don't have Silk Touch or you don't have, High Fortune, if you're just beginning, you're still better off with the ores, unless you don't have the resources to carry it all back. You're almost better using an ore grinder because at least you get 2 dust, but it still saves you that step of having to, bust it down. Granted, an ore grinder isn't all that slow. You can do that pretty quick. But it's still an option for you. Another one is with netherrack. If you're in the nether, of all places, I did not even think of testing for this. Netherrack actually will drop you soul sand, which, if you are anywhere familiar with Slimefun, is a big necessity along the way. Let's keep going through some stone variants and some other blocks and see what this does and does not do. So we'll start with ordinary stone. Ordinary stone will drop you gravel. So will cobblestone, so will andesite, so will granite, and so will diorite. All that drops gravel. What about blackstone? Blackstone drops blackstone. What about deep slate? Deep slate also drops deep slate. Prismarine, I didn't think that was going to work. Calcite. So that's it as far as all the available blocks. Now, what about continuing on from gravel? What if I run into gravel? You don't think of the hammer as a mining tool for these types of blocks because, when you're clearing an area, it slows you down. Well, gravel with a hammer will drop you sand. Now, if you mine up sand and hit it with a hammer, it will give you sand back. So we've got grass. We had dirt. Apparently there we go. The amount of time it took to set that up caused the dirt to spread. So we'll go over here. So when we take grass, we're going to get sand. Dirt, we're going to get sand. See a theory here? Coarse dirt, we're going to get sand. Podzol, we're going to get sand. And of course, netherrack, we're going to get soul sand. The one thing I didn't check was mycelium. So let's check that one. Mycelium. Will mycelium drop sand or will it drop dirt? Okay, so it dropped dirt, but then again, I can place the dirt and turn it into sand. It's a great beginning tool to get started. It is very inexpensive in terms of a crafting recipe. All right, we have a bunch of electronic tools within Slimefun here that we want to look at. Let's do this. Let's give myself some 24 karat gold. First, we want to talk about the gold transmuter. A way to turn Slimefun gold into vanilla gold. Whether you're going straight from 4 karat or 24 karat, it'll turn Slimefun gold into vanilla gold ingots. Now, this is one way to convert Slimefun to vanilla. The other way is taking 4 karat gold in a workbench, turning it into a gold block, a vanilla gold block, and then converting that back into gold ingots. It's probably faster and a little bit cheaper, but on my base, I run gold transmuters as I also run the vanilla autocrafters, converting gold blocks back into ingots. So from here, that's all I would do. Would either use the Networks autocrafter or the vanilla autocrafter and turn those into vanilla gold blocks. It will run anywhere from 4 to 24 karat gold. You'll receive anywhere from, I believe it's 4 or 5 gold ingots, or excuse me, gold nuggets on a 4 karat gold, up to, I believe it's 49 on a 24 karat gold. Next machine is the electric composter. One of the ways that you can get netherrack is through this. If you put stone in an electric composter, the nice things that it yields is netherrack. And if you need to make sulfate, this is great because now you've got a supply of netherrack, and this can be fully cargoable. You can automate this process. All right, moving on to the Cobblestone Generator. Now, I'm a little ashamed to admit this, Alessio. He's the dev of this pack. I have never crafted his Cobblestone Generator, except for, I think, a tutorial. So I want to take a look at it because I've always felt this Cobblestone Gen was a little expensive. For minor androids, I don't care about the magnesium, the lava bucket, and most of that, the blistering gets kind of expensive. So this is, of all the Cobblestone generators, it is the most expensive one to craft in the entry level. I'm not talking about the deep end infinity expansion ones, but of SMG, Core Slimefun, extra tools. This is the most expensive one to craft. But let's watch how fast it goes. Hopefully my server is not running behind right now. I've been having some issues here. So this is a little bit faster than an Android. Okay, server TPS is at 20, so we're okay. So you can see that it's going about 1 per second. A core Android Slimefun minor Android will do about 44 per minute. At this pace, where it looks like we're going to click out to do a stack, about a stack a minute. So while it is faster, it takes 4 minor androids. So it is a little bit more expensive. It's a little bit less productive. However, you don't have to go through the process of supplying fuel, which on a minor android can get kind of expensive if you're not set up right. If I remember right, a minor android runs off of, it's all going to be consumable materials. So you're having to generate these resources, and if you don't have that, a good supply of this, you're going to run out. The best thing being in here, a block of coal lasting 1:20. So the downside is it's more costly to run the extra tools cobble generator. However, I should rephrase, it's more costly to craft it, but it's cheaper in the long term to run because it simply runs off of electricity or Slimefun power. So again, it's you have to weigh the pros and cons. What costs you more to make versus what costs you more to run. Me, I load up the power. That's where I tend to go. All right, another favorite tool of mine is a vaporizer. Let's do this. Let's get a bucket of lava. A lot of you know what the bucket of lava is going to do. I hear this one a lot. Not too many people know what the water bucket does. So we'll start with the lava. As you're going through Slimefun, there's always one resource that is a major pain without automating it, and that is sulfate. Everybody knows you need sulfate to make batteries, to make electromagnets, to make motors, to make cargo motors, to make crafting motors, to make blistering ingots, and you name it. Sulfate is one of the core items of Slimefun, yet there's no massive way to produce it in core. So here you've got the ability to get 16 sulfate for every lava bucket, and you can automate lava buckets through the electric crucible. So there is a way to do that. Now, what about the water bucket? Most people think, well, what are you going to vaporize out of water? Well, what do you think happens when you have water, like say seawater, and you extract the water out of that? What's left? Salt. Salt can be fully automated. Now, you don't use salt for a whole ton of things, let's be honest. Besides the foods in Slimefun, from a productivity standpoint, the only thing you really might use salt for would be magnesium salt for the magnesium generator. You can have magnesium and salt going together in a heated pressure chamber, and making your magnesium salt and to run that generator. So it is fully automatable, which is a nice thing to have. All right, let's move on to the concrete maker. Let's give me some concrete powder here, and we'll just grab a stack. So the concrete factory, simply will turn concrete powder into concrete. You don't have to use vanilla methods. You just simply add it in, and it does 8 powder into 8 concrete every time. So you do have to do it in sets of 8, as you would a vanilla recipe. But considering most people don't craft 1 powder, you need to craft 8 at a time. All right, and the last machine and extra tools that we're going to look at is a pulverizer. Now, this is something admittedly I've also never really added into my servers where I've played, simply just because I haven't had a need. But the more I thought about this, when looking at what items you can turn into sand, cobble is something that most people end up throwing away and have insane amounts of. This is a nice way to divert a little bit of that extra cobble that you might have trashed, or you've stored up 50 billion cobble because you've gone boomer. Well, let's turn some of that cobble into sand so you don't have to run an extra machine above and beyond that. And you can simply change it if you want to go right from making sand to, let's say, soul sand. You can dump netherrack into it. If you've got a netherrack generator from SMG or some other way that you've automated it, hey, that's awesome. So the recipe here: a couple motors, medium capacitor, some basic pickaxes, a steel plate. The really expensive thing here is a hard metal ingot, and that's not that expensive. So it gives you a way to take some extra materials that you might have and turn it into another resource. And that, my friends, is extra tools. I use a lot of the Vaporizer, I use a lot of the concrete factories, and I use a lot of the gold transmuters. I'm using more now of the electric composters. And I think I'm actually going to look at incorporating some of the pulverizers. My bases tend to go boomer, but in the beginning, again, it's always that challenge. A lot of people take the shortcut of what's cheaper for the machine or the item that produces resources, versus thinking long term, if I spend a little bit more to make the machine, will it be cheaper for me to run in the long run? And that's something you have to kind of consider when you're planning out your base. But we're going to wrap this up here. I thank you guys so much. I hope you're enjoying the new way of doing a tutorial series. Get ready. We're getting diving into Nova and Craftery as well. We've already released our first tutorial there. But as always, when you're playing Slimefun, you got to go boomer or you got to go home. We'll see you later.